Hey, how's it going? My name is David Price. I am president of TPG, the People First IMO. We're going to go over our second full month in business, and we're going to go over certain numbers, talk about how we got there, some things we learned along the way, and also what our future looks like, and some things we're going to do to try to be more successful moving on. So first off, if you like my channel, I'm going to share my journey building this IMO month by month, share all the numbers, be completely transparent. I'm going to show you wins, losses. I'll probably highlight some agents, highlight some successes. But more importantly, I want to share as much experience as I can to help you make a decision on where or who you may want to work with based off of looking at how to look at real data points, real numbers, and make decisions based off of facts. And not just feelings, and also help you learn along the way, right? My goal is to help other people build their own IMO. If they don't want to be a part of me, they could still get the support of me, all my systems, all my processes, my lead program. I could help them build their own business in this industry, fully independent, no contracts. So there's a lot of things that we do bring to the table. So I hope in these videos will help you make educated decisions, like I said, on facts, on numbers, on real math, and not feelings. So if you like this channel, please hit the subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button, and guys, throw some stuff in the comments. I read every single comment that I get. I try to reply to 100% of them. And if there's a video you want, something you need to know or you want to know, definitely throw it in the comments, and I'll do my best to make a video based off of what I know, what I've built in this industry, and really the experience of tens of millions of dollars of insurance and tens of thousands of policies and families protected and thousands of agents hired and mentored, right? So I have a lot of experience that I can share with you and help you be successful. So a little bit about me and TPG in case you don't know. Like I said, we are the People First IMO. We started, our first full month was November. We started October 4th. That was a learning phase, working on getting people contracted and all the things that go along with that. There's a video where I go over our first full month. It's on the YouTube channel if you want to check that out. This is going over our second full month, which is the month of December. And super excited about the numbers. Again, like December, to me, December is a great month to produce. For some reason, people think it's not a great month to produce, and a lot of times people do take a lot of time off because of Christmas, anywhere from like Thanksgiving to Christmas. But we're able to have some pretty amazing numbers. So let's go over some data points that we tracked to help see if we're doing well, right? Because there's production numbers, right? A lot of times people like to post numbers of production on these charts on social media and stuff like that. But these production numbers mean something, but they mean very little of the whole picture. Because at the end of the day, if you're doing $30,000 a month in production, but you're not profiting or taking home that much, then you're just working for free. You're just getting someone else rich basically at that point. So again, like I said, we're the People First IMO. So I want to make sure that one, the client, right? That's the people. The client is protected. The client has good value. The client feels strongly about what they have, right? Which is important because that helps persistency, and we all like renewals in this business. So then the other people, of course, is the agents, and we want to make sure that the agents are taken care of with good commissions, with a system of success, where their business is staying on the books because they're competitively priced. So all that stuff comes into, again, just putting people first, which we think is super important. So we'll reference some numbers in November as well to show the growth from November to December, because at the end of the day, when we started tracking numbers in November, those numbers are just the baseline, right? So think about that. It doesn't matter where you are right now in your journey. What you want to do is you want to start tracking your numbers, and don't get too involved what the actual numbers are, right? Because there's room for improvement. Unless you plan on tracking your numbers that month and retiring, which I don't think that's the case, there's plenty of room to improve. So when we start tracking numbers, like, yes, we want them to be good, but ultimately it's our baseline to learn how to improve, right? Again, we want to be very mathematical about this. We want to be very systematic about this, and we want to make sure ultimately that our agents are making a good living with the least amount of work possible that they have to do. Now, I'm not saying they don't work hard, but I'm saying you want to make sure like the force going in is a multiplier for the results that they have. You don't want a lot of force for less results. So in November, for leads distributed, we got out 2,587 leads, right? So leads are super important, and leads will drive production. So I'm always going to look at lead numbers as one of my first things to look at, because I know more leads equal more production, right? So that's a give me. So in December, we got 3,635 leads. So we had a 40% increase in the amount of leads we got out, which is great. That's a great increase, right? Whose business doesn't want to grow 40%? So that was really good. Our lead investment was also a 40% increase, right? Because the lead was increased. So that was $72,700 was your lead investment. Average cost per lead, we're using a $20 as your average cost. Now, writing agents. So there's a lot of times people will say, hey, I have X amount of agents, but they're not all writing. And again, it's a metric to look at, right? If you hire 1,000 agents, you have 1,000 agents, that's good. But how many writing agents? And then when you look at writing agents, you have how many agents wrote that week, how many agents wrote that month, how many agents wrote that year, right? Because it's not a simple math. If I tell you, so November, we had 43 writing agents. December, we had 56 writing agents. So one, it's a good thing that the number went up, because sometimes what you'll have is you might have 43 writing agents in November, but none of them made a commission, or they couldn't pay back their lead cost. So those 43 people disappeared, and then the new hires are the next people that you had in December. So that number could stay the same or even go down, but don't think those are always the same people, because when your lead system's broken and your leads cost too much and you're not able to be profitable as an agent, well, people see that right away, right? People aren't dumb and they disappear. Now, we should have, right, because we have a very profitable lead system, we should have the increase on writing agents every single month. That's my prediction based off of the numbers we're seeing. So we went up 43 to 56 people. That's plus, that's a 30% increase, right? So again, 30% increase to writers. Again, double-digit increases. I mean, 2%, 5%, anything that's not zero or negative, we're super happy about. So we increased the writers. Submitted applications. So, you know, you would think things are relative, right? So the amount of leads went up 40%, the amount of writers went up 30%, and you would think submitted applications would go up somewhere around that, right? So we had 294 applications submitted in November. In December, we actually submitted 446 applications, right? So that's up 51%. So that's huge, right? So what that's showing is people are being more effective with the leads, right? Our leads became more effective. So that could be one, our lead quality went up, right? So we do a lot of things to make sure our lead quality increases. We look for common denominators. If we see an agent having a lot of success, we look at like, okay, what's going on different possibly with their leads versus someone else's. So we're always digging into data to find data points to help people be successful. Also, the training, right? So that's another thing. Training could increase to make agents more effective through our training in our virtual office, growing the level of belief, right? So a lot of times people might be skeptical of a new lead system, so that they don't go all in, and then they start seeing the success, and then they start trying harder again. So all those things could have led to the increase. Total production. So in November, we did 282,949. In December, we did 473,459. So that's a 67% increase. Again, great numbers, right? So things are increasing. So why did that number increase so much, right? And we'll get to that in a minute. So our closing ratio on the leads went up from 11.36% to 12.27%. Now remember, when I'm talking about this closing ratio, right? So there's contact rate, which we're not tracking, or we didn't track at least. But the closing ratio is how many leads went out and how many closed, right? So remember, a lot of leads you don't get in touch with. That's the business we're in. That's normal. But out of all the leads that went out, an average, right? Remember, we have top producers that are closing 40, 50, 60% of the leads. Out of all the leads that went out, an average of 12.27% of those leads are closed, which again is great. And the month before is 11.36. So it went up 0.91%. So almost a full percent. So again, that's a super Great number. So we're super excited about that as well. All right, cost per application, right? So we're tracking the CPA, cost per application, cost per acquisition, whatever you want to call it. Now, the CPA is super important if you're an agent, right? And this is a number I definitely challenge everyone to figure out for themselves, because if you're in business, you want to know what's the cost to acquire a client, and then what's that client value to you, right? So the first thing you want to figure out is cost to acquire the client. So to track the cost to acquire a client is simple. See how much money you spent for the month, and then how many clients you have, right? And then you simply divide those numbers together, and you come up with what is the cost to acquire a client. So for us, our cost to acquire a client in November was $175.99. Last month is $163, right? So we brought down the cost to acquire a client for the agent. Now remember, if you're trying to help an agent be successful, which is what we are doing, right? There's two main levers that you want to try to move. One is the cost to acquire a client, and you want to bring that lever down. The other one is the value per client, and you want to bring that one up. Now, if you could move one in the right direction, you're going to make a big increase or change in that person's life. But if you can move both of them, well, that's when you're really, really going to be changing people's lives. So you want to look at for yourself, right? What is the value per client? So typically in Final Expense, I would see $60 to $65 production or $60 to $65 average monthly premium, which would be about $720, $780. That's what I would see. Well, what we're seeing as our average production in December was $1,061.57, right? So we're bringing up big time the cost or the value of a client. So, and that went up from last month. Last month it was $962.41, right, in November. So we brought that up 10%. We dropped the cost to acquire a client down from 175 to 163, right? So we were able to move both those. So it's helping our agents be more profitable, which is ultimately what our goal is over here at the People First IMO. Average production per agent. Now this is a super cool number to track, and I've always looked at this number. Now, typically what happens with this number, as you increase the production, the number of agents and all that stuff, the average production per agent starts coming down. It's just naturally how things work. But we got a couple things here. We got SEAL team standards on our hiring process, right? We only want to hire best of the best. We have world-class training, right? We have people that want to be here that are committed to winning. We have a really strong lead program. So we have a couple little advantages that other places don't have that we have. Now, because of that, our average production per agent actually went up, even though we had a 40% increase in growth in production, which really blows my mind. So we went from $6,580.22 to $8,454.63. And just to put that into perspective, the average number, that the average production per agent is usually about $3,000 on a large agency. 2,500, 3,000, a good one might be 4,000. So we're like over double the industry standard on that. So I'm super excited about that. So we increased that 28%, right? Again, it's blown away. So guys, if this data is helpful for you, if this is something that's teaching you a lot, not only about my business, which is great, but really how to track with your business to see where you're going, to see how successful you are, to see if you're in the right opportunity, please, again, subscribe, hit the little bell so you can see when I have videos drop, hit the thumbs up, throw some comments, say, hey, this is helping me. Thank you so much. Like, let me know, like, give me some feedback, please. Make sure I'm not just talking to a camera for fun, right? Now, lead to agent ratio. So I look at this number. This is the number of leads that the agent got per month on an average. And to me, I want that number to raise because it shows confidence in the lead program, right? So right now we're at 64.91 average leads per agent. Last month it was 60, or the month before at November, 66.16. So we increased that, again, 7.9%. So again, everything increased that we wanted to increase, everything decreased that we want to decrease. Now, we're going to keep track of these numbers in the next month. We might come down a bit. We might take a step back. I'm going to share it to you regardless. We might make some mistakes. Again, I'm going to be fully transparent. I'm going to share this whole journey. My goal is to build a business that does $1 billion in annual premium, $1 billion in annual premium. And I want to be the first guy, not only a guy to hit 1 billion in annual premium, but to document the entire journey, to show you guys exactly how I did it. So you could go back and you could look at exactly where we started and be like, oh man, I remember when that guy did $400,000 a month, right? We want you to remember all those different things. So super excited for that. And next thing is the ROI for the agent. So this is super important. Like, what is average ROI? There's a lot of times you'll see top producer or they'll show top producer numbers or like some like little snippet of the best. We want to show our average ROI, right, as an agent. So our average ROI on a 100% contract is 551%. On a 110, it's 616. On a 120, it's 681%. On a 130, it's 746%. And on a 140, it's 811%. So think about that. So on a 100% contract, every dollar our agents put in, our average agent puts in, they're getting an average of $5 back, right? So again, guys, these numbers are blowing my mind because these are good numbers for top people, right? When you look at that, and this is the average, right? I can sit there and I could pull the top 3 agents and give you those numbers. I could probably show you a 10 to 12 ROI or a 1,200 or 1,000 to 1,200% ROI. But again, this is all about how do we help the average committed agent, right? When I say average, you could be average, but you're committed. You put the time in, you put the work in, and you're still going to make an amazing lifestyle in this business. And that's my goal, right? Let me build a system that lets the average agent not just survive, but thrive in this business. So again, if you got some value out of this, please hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button, throw some comments in the chat. Let me know that this is helping you. We're going to keep documenting this. And thank you so much. And remember, guys, never settle.